am back with you again today, this time to share a 12 by 12 process video with you. So I picked up these little tiny frames from Recollections at Michael's. They came with these stamps. I think they were planner stamps, but I needed some different frame options, and I didn't want to place an order online and wait for them to come in because I was kind of on a deadline. So I have done quite a bit off camera to include trying to make this kind of larger version of myself with my mom bun. So I'm working with the Jen Hadfield Heart of Home collection today, and I'm actually doing this layout for the Pebbles Facebook group challenge. So for the month of March, they are challenging everyone to come up with a layout or a card or any paper craft with the theme of lucky. So my daughters absolutely, and my husband, not only are they the heart of my home, but they make me feel super lucky to be in their lives. So this idea for this layout popped in my head, I don't know, a couple weeks back. And this was the perfect time to kind of put it down on paper. So I just cut out the back of a girl, and I get myself a gorgeous floral sweater there using the paper. And then I just got some brown yarn, and I just made it look like the back of my head with a big floppy bun on it. And then I used the frame dies that I got from Michael's, and I cut out a bunch of little pieces of pattern paper from that Heart of Home collection, and then I printed off 12 different photos of my daughters over the years. I printed them all at 2x2. I end up having to trim all of them down even further because the frame, depending on how big it is, was, I don't know, maybe an inch to an inch and a half. So I'm going to save you guys from having to watch me actually mount and trim all of these different photos on the frames. I think I counted I had about 17-ish frames, and originally I was going to put pictures in each one, but I printed out two 4x6 sheets with 6 pictures on each one, and I had 12. I went downstairs and kind of looked at what I had and decided that if I had printed out another 5 or so, that it might look a little bit too busy, that I liked having some pattern paper along with the photos, and I wanted to kind of add some embellishments to the photo frames. So like I said, I did do quite a bit of work off camera, but I knew what I wanted to do, and so I just needed to get some stuff done, and you don't necessarily need to watch me use my big shot or that girl. That she took a while. So the intent of this layout is that the girl standing there is myself, and I'm looking at a gallery wall of photos of my daughters over the last 7 years that I've had kids, just sort of reflecting on how lucky I am to have them all in my life. And I do have a couple pictures in there where my husband also is in the photo, and absolutely am super lucky to have him in my life as well as to have him as the father to my beautiful kids. So originally I was going to kind of make it look even more like a gallery wall, so I was going to just kind of draw in with a pen a little nail and the strings holding all of these various photos up. But I then kind of switched directions, and you'll see later that I actually end up just sort of embellishing and using some rub-ons and things so that each of the different little clusters is just kind of pretty. And then at that point I decided that if I went back in and added the faux string to make it look like they were all hanging on this wall, that it would have been just entirely too busy. So I just kind of decided against that. So here I'm just going through, and some of these 2x2 cards I think, well, I could fussy cut that out and use it just as a die cut, which I end up not doing. So I'm doing all of this for nothing, but that's okay. I just love this collection, and I love it to the point, and I know that everybody is probably in the same boat with me, maybe not with this collection in particular, but with other collections. I'm like this one with Bloom by Maggie Holmes, really any Maggie Holmes collection. I just want to hoard. But if I do that, then I actually don't get to look at the pretty collection because I've not made anything with it. So it just sits in a pile or in a bag or whatever in my craft room, and I just think about it and I never actually get to look at it. So I decided to pull that one out. And besides, the theme of it really matches the theme of what I'm going for in this layout. So I had those rub-ons as well from Jen Hadfield. They might have been from this collection. I actually don't remember. I had them with some fall stuff because of the leaves and things on there. I thought they would work well in the fall. But I ended up digging them out and throwing them on my desk to use with this layout because, I mean, who does not love a good rub-on? And they're gold. Hello. They're perfect. So to make this a little bit easier on myself, because I knew that if I just dumped everything off that page, I would never figure out how I had it all set up, and I film on my phone, so a picture really wasn't going to do me any good either. So I have just trimmed down another piece of white paper there. I think I trimmed to 11.5 by 11.5. And then I'm just going to gut this amazing wood grain, also from the Heart of Home collection, so that I still have the middle. I did buy 2 sheets of pattern paper from this collection, so I do still have another one, but I want to be able to use this one again. I love that wood grain, and the color of it is just amazing. So here, as you can see, I'm just going to have a little bit of that wood grain peeking around. I'm not sure what I was spazzing about at that particular moment. I think I thought I bumped the camera. So this is how I usually will add things onto the frames because I'm kind of terrible at placement. So I'm just going to put down my double-sided adhesive to the very edge, and then I'm going to just lift up a small portion of that backing and fold it down, so that way I can kind of move this around once I get it on top of the frame until I'm perfectly happy with where it is. So that backing, with it being folded up, is kind of preventing that white sheet from sticking until I go ahead and push down where the adhesive is exposed. And then you just rip out the backings and you're done. And it's exactly where you want it. So now I'm going to add these pieces back in, and I'm going to be careful to put them back just about where they were on that original sheet, because I do like the way that they were all kind of situated. And I did, when I backed all of the frames, I did go ahead and also pop some of the photos up with pop dots, because I'm going to want some to look like they're flat against the page, and then I'm going to want some that look like they're hanging in front of the other photos. A little bit of dry adhesive on that picture. And then I'm using the and one are actually from the thickers from Along the Way, I believe. And then the Lucky is actually from a One Canoe 2 collection, which I think was Goldenrod. I actually had, was it 2? It was either 2 or 3 of my thicker phrases that had the word lucky in it. And I decided to go with this one. The pink matched really well the pinks of the collection. So now I'm getting out these rub-ons, and I thought that they would be pretty to layer behind some of these clusters. So just trying to figure out, how should I put this? And that looks okay, but I didn't want too much of it to be covered up. So I ended up putting it vertically along the edge of that photo of the girls. They were being super sweet before bedtime, and they were reading a book together in the older one's bedroom. And so I'm going to do a fingers crossed here after I get this on, because I've had these rub-ons for a little while and I have not yet used them. I've lost my popsicle stick. There it is. And so I didn't even know if they were going to stick, because I know everybody's been in that boat before. You go to use some rub-ons and they don't rub off. But these are perfect. They worked perfectly. I was super, super excited. Nothing kind of annoys me more than when I try to use a rub-on and it refuses to come off of the backing sheet, or it halfway works. So these rub-ons were just meant to be, and they are just so gorgeous. You know when you get an idea in your head and you want to do something like the rub-ons? So if the rub-ons didn't work, then what on earth was I going to do? I don't know. I didn't have a plan for that. I guess I would have just gone back to my original idea of drawing in the little nails with the strings. But would I have been as happy with that as I am with what I did? No, probably not. That was just kind of a tangent. So I also have pulled out this little wreath, and I'm just cutting the word out of the center. I've seen lots of people just rub whatever portion they want, and whatever they don't touch doesn't go down, but I didn't want to risk it. Because sometimes I find the rub-ons are sticky enough that even if you don't rub it, they'll partially come off, even though you didn't want them to. And I actually had a hair stuck to the fake head of mine. That was kind of funny. So I'm going to use this this wreath piece behind that main photo of that cluster of 3 that I have. And I wanted to stick down that pink pattern paper, because why would I want to hide any of this gorgeous rub-on? I really don't. So I'm going to put the rub-on on top of that piece of pattern paper, and it works beautifully. I did rub it a little bit extra along the edges there just to make sure that it was well adhered, but there was no issue with it at all. I mean, these rub-ons are just, oh my gosh. And that reminded me when I was doing that of Shamel when she was at Creativation. She was talking about her rub-ons going seamlessly from one layer of pattern paper to another. So I was kind of hesitant. I was a little bit worried that it was going to end up cracking or something like that. But I tell you what, these rub-ons were magical, and they just laid down so, so beautifully. So that big, long, leafy branch, I'm going to put down over there where I've got a thankful tag hanging down. And I love the way that that gold leaf hanging down layers with that tag and the pink and the wood grain. Oh my gosh, I am in heaven right now, you guys. So I probably shouldn't have made you guys watch me layer all of these rub-ons. But I thought you might kind of like it. It's kind of satisfying to do rub-ons. That's for sure. So I'm just going to put this one in the same sort of orientation that I put the one actually kind of directly above it. And I'm going to have it peeking out from the side of that photo. I just cannot believe how we're already out of the tiny tot years. It makes me so sad. Kids really grow up really fast. And to think the changes that we're going to have in the next 7 years, nope. I don't even want to. I can't. I cannot. I love this picture of my youngest. It was kind of funny because we went to the photo shoot. We always go have pictures taken for our Christmas cards. So we'll go have photos done. Depends. I think we've gone as early as October. Most of the time we go in November. And my daughter, let's think. So she was probably my youngest for that first year. She was legit probably like 3 to 4 months. And so I was holding her up from behind, and the gal photoshopped me out of it. But what's funny about it is that she looks like a 3 or 4 month old baby just sitting there holding herself up. It's the stinking cutest thing ever. So I'm struggling to get that piece back. So I think I only have a couple more rub-ons I think that I'm going to use. And I originally was going to put this gorgeous large one up here, but the only other one that looks like it is directly below it. So I really didn't want to do that. So I cut out the other wreath from that rub-on set. Just cutting that middle word out of it again for use later. And then I'm going to layer that wreath behind that photo. So I'm just going to struggle just a little bit with the orientation of it, where I should put it. And I decide that I like it over to the left of that picture. So I'm going to go ahead and commit and place that one down as well. That's the only thing with rub-ons. If you change your mind, well, too darn bad. I mean, I guess you could fussy cut it out. That would ruin my entire layout. You could cover it up, but that would, the rub-ons used. These are real struggles, people. So I'm going to make sure that one is nice and secure. And then I will place my photos back down. So I'm really liking the way that this is coming so far. Maybe not 100% how I envisioned it when I thought about this a couple weeks ago, but I love the way that it turns out. And then I decide to go ahead and just cut the little hole off of that tag, because I was going to add some embroidery thread to it and a little bow, but it would have been the only one on the layout. So I thought maybe it would feel a little bit out of place. So I'm going to start adhering down all of these frames and little pieces of pattern paper. And I'm not going to make you watch me do all of this. Originally, I was just going to adhere the flat pieces of pattern paper, but then I decided, what the heck, I can always tuck stuff in. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere all of it. So I'm just taking the backing off those pop dots, and then I'm going to stick those back down. And then voila. So here we are, everything has now been adhered, and if you notice, I did put one other rub on. I've got that set of 3 leaves kind of dangling down from the word one. I like the way that that kind of filled in some white space right there and brought an element to the title itself. So I'm just going through to do some final embellishing. I cut, hello. Oh my gosh, like the little banner ends? I forgot what they're called now. Jeez. To that little word sticker that says love. I put a black and white floral sticker behind one of them. I'm going to put down that little gold with the white heart. And I'm going to layer another pink heart. So I've got one up there in the right hand corner, and then I'm going to put another one right here just to add some color there. And then I think, nope, there's another word sticker. It says family time. Put that up next to the one where you can really see my husband in that one. You can barely even see my daughter's head. Is the size of, like, it's super teeny tiny from here. But they were actually riding, my husband's super funny. He was riding in my daughter's Power Wheel Mustang with her, with his legs all the way down the hood. It was hilarious. So then I also decided to bring in one of the pink rose or floral stickers, and I was just trying to decide. I kind of wanted to put some gold leaves behind it. So I thought about maybe cutting some from that ephemera piece, but then I didn't want to do that because that's the only one I have. So I thought about using the sticker, but again, I only have the 2, so I didn't really want to cut down either of them. I thought it would have looked pretty with the gold leaves layered behind that sticker, but I end up popping it out and I move it. After I get done contemplating, it just looks a little bit out of place. I don't know. It really wasn't, but I end up just sticking it down. And what was super funny is this picture was barely holding on, and it did have tape runner on the back. So then I adhered it really good, knowing that I wanted to tuck that flower sticker behind there, but whatever. It worked in the end. I like the way that looks up in that corner better, I think, because if it was underneath, it would have been too close to the title where there is quite a bit of pink in there. So then I end up using the gold foiled butterfly sticker, and I'm going to stick it up on some pop dots and fill that gap a little bit, because removing that sticker kind of made me realize that there's a white space gap there, which there is everywhere all over the layout, but it was bothering me for some reason. So then I thought about adding some of those dimensional embellishments, but at this point, you know, when you get to that point with the layout, when you're looking at all the product, when you're looking at the layout, and you keep picking stuff up, but then you put it back, you just get to that point where you just know it's done. There's nothing else that you can do. It's perfect. At least in my mind. And so that's what I did. So I was just fixing my hair there. And then I'll show you a close-up. I've just got some different clusters going on. Some of them have rub-ons, not all of them. Most of them, I guess. But I love the way this turned out. It was really a good chance to showcase my daughters and some of my favorite pictures or moments over their early childhood years. I just love it. So thanks for stopping by with me today, guys, and I will see you next time. Have a good day. Bye.